Zavs here, and today I'm gonna be talking about something I haven't quite done on my channel before. I've talked a lot about different types of media on my channel overall, mostly CDs and vinyl. Sometimes I mentioned movies that I like or games that I've played, my favorites, but I haven't particularly looked into books that I read overall. Now, I've started properly reading consistently from the beginning of this year because I've had quite a struggle previously to keep consistent with the amount of books that I've read and keep some sort of like a schedule, maybe like a book per month or something. But from the beginning of this year, I started doing it, and it was honestly very useful for me. So far, I've read somewhere around 8 books. And now I want to kind of touch on that. I'm gonna try and catch up to where I am right now by doing these series. A video a month will update you somewhere around 3 books that I've read. And today I'm gonna touch on the first 3 books that I've read this year. Now, the first one that I've read was Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury. The book was published in 1953 and is probably the most known book of Ray Bradbury. You probably have heard of it. This was my first time reading it, and I enjoyed it so much. The book basically takes place in this dystopian future of American society where books have been said to be illegal. And there are these firemen that don't put out the fire like they do in the current world. What they do is they burn books and the houses that the books are in. So it's quite an interesting concept overall, and the book focuses on this main guy named Montag, who is a fireman as well, and it looks into his personal life, how the events have changed him and his relationship with people around him, how the more he learns about what he does and why he does that, it changes his perspective on his life. He's getting basically more enlightened, and he chooses to change what he does the further he goes. I haven't even fully realized the concept when I started reading it, and I just only got it when the more I read. So it was very interesting for me. It's reading sci-fi isn't usually what I go for overall. I usually am more of real life situations, but this was a very interesting take, and I'm very glad I've read it overall because it's something new and it's definitely worth a read. I don't have a hard copy of it because I have got it on Audible, so it's an audiobook. And it took me only around 5 hours to listen to the whole thing. It's a very easy read, and I would definitely recommend it. So yeah, Fahrenheit 451. The next book that I want to talk about is Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. Now, I do have a hard copy of this one, thankfully. Everyone knows this one, and this one is a classic gothic horror novel, and it was published in 1818. This book, not a big read, only like 200 something pages. It's about a young Swiss scientist, Victor Frankenstein, who basically takes on exploring the concept of life, and he basically creates this creature that obviously you will know of as Frankenstein's monster, this creature over here. And it's so interesting to read about his thoughts throughout, how he got there, the whole process. So surreal of a concept overall, and it's fucking amazing to see the situation of 2 characters. We have Victor and his monster, and we get to see from both the perspectives their look on each other. So Monster thinks of him as a creator, and he worships him, and it's such a sad novel. It's insane. It's one of my favorite things ever. Victor is creating it the creature, but he doesn't really know what he is doing. And you can see his struggles of why did he do this, and what would it take for him. And overall, it's so one of a kind. For me, I found the best way to read overall is to have an audiobook and a hard copy in front of me. I mean, or just a text overall. It could be on phone or something, because that way I could fully focus on what is going on. Because I don't know, maybe it's just me, but sometimes when I read a book, like if it's a hard copy, I can get away, or maybe like, you know, get distracted easily. Or when I just listen, I can just zone away and maybe not fully concentrate. But when I have the text and the audio, I can follow what is happening. It's as if someone's reading to me and I get to follow along. It's as if I'm in class or something. And it's honestly so helpful for me overall to just finish the book faster. And yeah, basically it's such a classic, and I would so recommend reading it if you haven't already. But obviously it's such a common novel, especially if you're into anything gothic or anything horror. And if you haven't read this, go and do that right now. Yeah, Frankenstein by Mary Shelley is my second book. And my final book for this video is another classic that I absolutely enjoyed almost as much as I did Frankenstein. It was The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde, a famous novel. Another gothic classic. It's philosophical. As everyone knows, Oscar Wilde, if the book isn't philosophical, then what is it, Oscar? The book was published in 1890. I was so inspired by it. Again, not a big read, as you can see. Definitely worth checking out. Weirdly, I have started reading the book last year, and I don't know why I stopped, but I've only come back to it in the beginning of this year, and I'm so glad I did, because I just finished it, and it was the closer to the end it gets, it's so interesting. It intrigues you from the beginning to the end. The way Oscar Wilde writes, as you may know, is absolutely enchanting and magical overall. His sensory description of everything really takes you into the concept of the book itself. It's like you're there. And what I personally like the most is the character development. Such detailed development of every single character that you feel that you know how that character feels about that character, and how this main character thinks about this. And it's so interesting to see them changing. All of them change from the beginning till the end, and it's amazing. It's such an experience. Like I can't even describe it. It's not even a book, it's an experience to read it. I am honestly fascinated. It's such an inspiring take on beauty, on power, on art as a whole, on the concept of life and what it takes. The youth is such an essential theme here, and I don't even want to say more than that. It's a very Victorian style book, very romantic. Not as a concept, but as it's written. It's one of my most favorite books of all time, definitely. Inspired me to do so many art projects of mine, and it's overall, it's filled with like quotes you can quote like every day. Oscar Wilde is a genius, is a fucking genius, and this book is his masterpiece. And yeah, basically, definitely would recommend for you to try this out if you haven't already. I'm sorry I'm starting with classics that everyone may already know, but I personally just introduced myself to them recently, so I thought maybe if people were doubting about reading them or weren't quite interested in classics, maybe now they would, because it's a big inspiration for all the future books to come. So yeah, The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed today's video. It's not something that I usually do, but I feel like I would continue doing that because I still have quite a few books overall left for me to talk about here. And I hope you enjoyed today's little tour. And that's it. It was your girl Crystal Zaf. Be safe and goodbye.